Have you noticed something strange happening in Star Citizen lately? Between all the arguments about ship prices and release dates, a deeper issue seems to be driving players away faster than any bug ever could. Could it be that Cloud Imperium Games has accidentally designed the perfect griefing simulator in patch 4.3.1? What if the solution has been hiding in plain sight this whole time? Weirdly enough, games from 15 years ago already figured this out. Yet somehow, here we are again, watching the same patterns unfold. Makes you wonder if anyone at CIG ever played an MMO before designing one. Remember that feeling when you first backed Star Citizen? That mix of hope, excitement, and, let's be honest, a bit of naive optimism? But then there's this moment that happens, usually right after you've survived another 30K error or finally mastered the quantum travel system, where something clicks, something that makes you wonder if the people making this game actually play it, like at all. Bugs and delays, whatever, part of the process. But when you keep running into the same toxic player behaviors patch after patch, and the developers act surprised every time, that's when you start questioning whether your time and money are going towards something that actually values you as a player. Because at the end of the day, don't you just want to enjoy this incredible universe without some random dude in a Gladius making it his life mission to ruin your evening? So, what exactly are we dealing with here? Some MMO veterans call it structural griefing, when the game itself practically encourages players to be jerks, even though that wasn't the plan. It's like, imagine you've designed this gorgeous shopping mall, right? But for some reason, you've made it so everyone has to squeeze through one tiny hallway to reach the food court. Then you act shocked when pickpockets set up shop exactly there. That's basically Star Citizen's event design in 4.3.1. Scroll through Spectrum forums for 5 minutes, and you'll see the same tired argument. PvP is part of the game, deal with it or leave. But what if that's not actually the problem? What if, and hear me out, the real issue isn't that PvP exists, but that CIG has created a system where the only meaningful PvP interaction is, well, being a jerk. Games figured this out decades ago. Why hasn't Star Citizen? Don't need separate PvE servers or removing PvP entirely. Just need somebody at CIG who understands that when your only reward for player interaction is making someone else log off. Maybe your system needs rethinking. Ever notice how every single dynamic event in Star Citizen plays out exactly the same way? You spend half an hour getting ready, another 20 minutes traveling there, arrive all excited about the cool mission, and promptly get blown up by someone who's been camping the only entrance for the past 3 hours. Frustrating, right? But here's the thing, this isn't some unforeseeable outcome. Anyone who played Dark Age of Camelot or early World of Warcraft could have predicted exactly what would happen. It's game design 101. If you create a valuable resource with a single access point, players will camp it. Remember trying to complete that lab mission after 4.2 dropped? You know, the one where everyone had to funnel through that single corridor? How'd that work out? Probably about as well as trying to enter Stranglethorn Vale as Alliance back in 2005. The truly bizarre part isn't that players behave this way. That's just human nature doing its thing. The weird part is that CIG seems genuinely surprised by it every single time. Jumptown, Xenothreat, the Ninetales lockdown. Every event, same problems, same developer shock. What if, bear with me, the problem isn't toxic players, but predictable human behavior meeting predictably flawed design? When you finally gave up after your third spawn kill at that event, was it because you're casual, or because the game wasted an hour of your limited gaming time with a completely foreseeable design issue? Does any of this sound familiar? That moment when you've spent 40 minutes flying across multiple systems, getting your loadout just right, only to get obliterated seconds after arrival by a group that's basically set up a toll booth at the only entrance? Then comes the chat messages. Get good. Welcome to the verse. It's a PvP game, bro. People love debating whether this is realistic or immersive on Reddit. But here's a weird thought. When was the last time being spawn camped made you want to keep playing? When you finally hit that disconnect button after the third or fourth gank, does it really matter how realistic your frustration was? Have you ever wondered why some games with brutal PPV still manage to feel fair, while Star Citizen often doesn't? Take EVE Online. You can absolutely get your ship blown up, but there's always a reason behind it. Someone wants your cargo. They're fighting for territory. There's an economic advantage. The conflict serves a purpose beyond "I'm bored and you exist." Or Sea of Thieves. Pirates attack for your treasure, your supplies. Something tangible. There's a goal beyond the combat itself. But what about that time in Star Citizen when 3 Hornets chased your mining ship across an entire system? What were they after? Your tiny cargo of hand-mined rocks? The 2000 AUEC bounty on your head from that accidental pad ramming? Or just the satisfaction of knowing they ruined your night? When's the last time someone attacked you in Star Citizen and you thought, that makes sense, rather than, ugh, here we go again? The strangest part? Even dedicated PvP players are frustrated by this. Nobody enjoys hunting players who can't fight back, at least not for long. It's like playing chess against someone who doesn't know the rules. Sure, you'll win, but what's the point? This isn't a skill issue. It's not about getting good. It's about a system where the primary reward for player interaction is watching someone else have a bad time. And weirdly enough, that kind of system doesn't create the thriving universe CIG keeps promising. It creates empty servers and refund requests. Remember that time you convinced your friend to finally try Star Citizen? You know the one. They'd been listening to you talk about this game for years. Skeptical but curious. You spent 20 minutes just explaining the controls. Another 15 getting them comfortable with actually flying their ship. The moment their eyes lit up when they first broke atmosphere. Pure magic. This was going to be the session that converted them. Then, right as you were showing them their first quantum jump, 3 red markers appeared on your radar. Before you could even explain what was happening, your ship exploded. Your friend didn't even see what hit you. As you both stared at the respawn screen, they turned to you with that look. You know the one. That, I gave this a fair shot, but really? Expression. And the worst part? You had no defense. Couldn't even argue. Because in that moment, you were seeing Star Citizen through fresh eyes. All the technical brilliance, the ambition, the potential, none of it mattered because the actual minute-to-minute experience was, well, kind of terrible. Your friend never logged in again. Can you really blame them? What's so maddening about Star Citizen's PvP problem is that the solutions already exist. Games have been solving this exact issue for decades. It's not mysterious new territory. Ever play Albion Online? Full loot PvP game. Way more hardcore than Star Citizen aspires to be. Yet somehow it works. Why? Because the black zones with unrestricted PvP have multiple entrances and exits. Can't camp them all. The risk feels fair because you chose it with full information and had options for approach. Or what about those old-school karma systems from games like Lineage 2? Kill innocent players, get marked as a criminal. Keep doing it. Lose your gear when you die. Simple, effective deterrence that doesn't prevent PvP just makes you think twice about who you target and why. Could Star Citizen benefit from something similar? What if events spawned at multiple locations simultaneously? What if criminal behavior carried consequences that actually mattered, like being unable to dock at major stations for days, not just minutes? What if the prison gameplay was actually engaging enough that people feared going there? Or if there were lucrative PvP objectives that rewarded skilled combat without requiring victim players. The weird thing is, most people doing the griefing aren't inherently toxic. They're often veteran players who've run out of content and are desperately looking for any kind of challenge or interaction. The system has failed them too, just in a different way. Doesn't this suggest the solution isn't about restricting gameplay, but enriching it? Giving everyone, griefers included, something more meaningful to do than camping spawn points? Have you noticed how the community discussion around this has evolved? Early on it was, it's an alpha, be patient. Then it became, it's a space sim. Danger is realistic. Now, even hardcore PvP advocates on Spectrum are admitting the system is broken. They're not having fun either. They want strategic combat, territorial conflicts, reasons to fight, not shooting fish in a barrel. Remember that post from the concierge backer that blew up last month? The one where they said they didn't spend years and thousands backing this game to play elite dangerous with prettier ships and toxic players? Struck a nerve, didn't it? Because underneath all the forum bravado and Reddit arguments, most backers, PvP lovers included, want the same thing. A universe where conflict feels meaningful, not arbitrary. Where your ship exploding tells a story beyond someone was bored and you were there. Isn't it strange how united the community actually is on this, once you scratch beneath the surface? So what do you do while waiting for CIG to figure this out? How do you enjoy Star Citizen right now, as it exists in 4.3.1? First, and this might sound obvious, avoid those dynamic events unless you've got friends and combat ships. Not because you can't handle PvP, but because the risk-reward math simply doesn't work out. Why waste an hour for a 90% chance of frustration? Second, rethink when and where you play. Those cargo runs between major hubs? Much safer during off-peak hours. Bounty hunting? Stick to the outer regions of Crusader where traffic is lighter. Mining? Those asteroid fields are vast for a reason. Use that space. Third, and this is crucial, stop accepting the "this is just how space games work" argument. It's not. Elite Dangerous has solo mode. EVE has high-sec space. Even hardcore survival games like Rust eventually added PvE servers because they realized diverse player preferences build stronger communities than forced interaction. And perhaps most importantly, keep providing feedback. Not rage posts, but specific, constructive suggestions. Because despite appearances sometimes, CIG does listen. Remember how many iterations Jumptown went through before it became somewhat balanced? Your voice actually does matter here. Beneath all the frustration and debate, isn't there something weirdly hopeful about Star Citizen? This bizarre, ambitious, sometimes maddening project that shouldn't exist but somehow does? The technology works, the funding exists, the community cares, maybe too much sometimes. All the pieces for something truly special are there, waiting for design decisions that respect both freedom and structure. What's been your experience with Star Citizen's current PvP balance? Have events been rewarding challenges or exercise in frustration? Have you found ways to enjoy competitive gameplay that don't involve making others miserable? The conversation in the comments directly shapes how these issues get addressed. Because yes, contrary to popular belief, the developers do read community feedback. Thanks for watching this exploration of Star Citizen's complicated relationship with player conflict. Being critical of something doesn't mean you've given up on it. Often it means you care enough to want it to improve. The solutions exist, the precedent is there, and the community deserves gameplay systems that channel competitive spirit into memorable experiences, not frustration. Keep flying, keep providing feedback, and remember that your engagement with discussions like this one actually helps shape the future of the game. The algorithm notices which topics matter to the community, and that influences development priorities more than you might think. Until next time, stay safe out there in the verse, or at least as safe as the current design allows.